featuring former governors, ex-ministers, political heavyweights, and even the immediate past INEC chairman. The announcement has statements about timing, community, and for politics back here at home. Joining us to discuss this decision by the president is a public affairs analyst and senior lecturer in the Department of Public Administration, Faculty of Management Sciences at the Enquiry State University, Dr. Onwanabasi Udo. Good morning, Dr. Udo. It's nice to have you back today.
Good morning, NYAKNNO. Good morning, Oselo.
Yeah, good morning.
My colleague, Tuikon.
Yes.
And good morning, listeners.
I'm thinking your weekend was better than ours.
Very well. Well, better than yours. Yeah, I don't know where it was because you guys are enjoying a good working environment every day. And I don't know what's behind.
I think part of the enjoyment is that we always have to be at work.
Yeah, sure.
So we don't have weekends.
Yeah, so we do have weekends.
Because I come. Donald Ekere, good morning, Mr. Kerr. Thank you for coming on the program today.
Yaki, good morning. Oselo, good morning, and thank you for giving us those old vibes.
That's my duty here. Yeah. Good morning.
All right.
Remember, you can be part of the discussion via the phone lines on 0803 085 7755 and 0809 066 6909. Those are the phone lines to join in. The second one is our WhatsApp number. So if you send a message on WhatsApp, we'll be willing to read it out here on the program this morning. So let's get started like this. I mean, it's no longer news that President Bola Tinubu nominated many political figures and former officials, raising questions about merit versus political loyalty in the list for ambassadorial postings. Otaka, let me start with you. What does this new ambassadorial list tell us about how President Tinubu makes important appointments and his priorities for foreign policy?
Let's first look at the need to have a representation in capitals across the globe. I think it is long overdue. Was it in 2023? He now sent most of them. Was it on? I think he held on and he didn't appoint ambassadors after many of them were told to go out. It was very, very wrong not to have your diplomatic representations in different capitals, especially in the major capitals of the world. You can't do that. It was absolutely wrong. And to wait for this long, even worse that it happened. And thank God he has been able to set correct those, I won't call it mistakes, correct those wrong steps he took. Well, it's the same thing. But the challenges we have is that when you look at the situation we are in Nigeria today, Nigeria has an image problem and we desperately need to have our image laundered. So the quality and caliber of persons you put there matters a lot. You could put somebody who is very intelligent but lacks experience in that sector, in diplomacy, and you could put somebody who is very intelligent, could be capable, but does not have the pedigree to be there. And you could put somebody who is very intelligent and has a lot of other qualities, but he lacks the character. He doesn't have the integrity, and which is what we have seen across board. At the time when you have the American president directly calling Nigeria a disgraced country, and you appoint people with very questionable characters, it is not a very good step. It is an own goal that the president has scored in his administration. And I don't know exactly what he's going to do, because I've seen those who are actors over the recent claim of genocide in Nigeria, who have pointed out to certain characters he has appointed, and he simply, and I remember one of them said in his post, said the world is watching, and the world truly is watching. So I don't know whether those who make policies in Nigeria are not mindful of what people outside the country think about Nigeria. They think that everything rises and falls within the four walls of this country, and they don't seem to mind the fact that other people in the world, in the globe, are watching what we are doing, the appointment we are doing, the decisions we are making. So it is very, very sad. What the president has done is very, very sad. To me, it is a no-go.
Doc,
Yes.
this list consists of career ambassadors, non-career ambassadors, and the report has it that the federal government completed vetting and security checks for several nominees as far back as 20 April this year. But the appointment process, stalled repeatedly. President Tinubu attributing the prolonged delay to complex political considerations. Now, ambassadors shape how Nigeria is viewed globally, as diplomacy requires credibility, so their character and competence are crucial. But controversial local figures may affect that perception. Do these nominations strengthen Nigeria's foreign policy, or do they create more political tension at home? And what qualities should matter most when selecting people who represent us abroad?
Let me lay a little background to this before I come straight to your question. When we were in the university, I studied political science, public administration combined. We had a lecturer, he's still alive today, called Professor Koniminwe. He was a retired military officer. At the time, he became the chairman of governing council in Enquiry State University. He used to take us on the course called International Relations. By the time he would dissect international relations and finish, you feel like becoming a graduate of a diplomat. And then, he will make the course very interesting, and he will tell you who diplomats are. And then on the pages of newspapers and in the television, we'll watch a conference of diplomatic corps. You see them sit in a kind of a theater sort of, kind of, and you know how you cast the news, NTA in those days, they cast the news, and we're running the videos of diplomatic corps. I mean, you just feel like you should be one of the ambassadors. There was a time I used to nurse the idea, maybe I should be an ambassador in future. Why did I say that? And we used to ask questions, what will make somebody, what are the qualifications, the primary qualifications somebody can acquire to become an ambassador? And just like he used to say, he said at least a bachelor degree, and in international relations or political science or foreign affairs and so on. You have to also have an experience in diplomacy. And then you also have to, if you have lived in abroad before and have been working there, that can also act as an additional advantage for you. And then, now coming to your question now, we look at the class of people that the president has nominated. I'm not saying that those people are not good enough, but I'm saying that if you look at their pedigree, if you look at some of the especially, I think out of the 32 on the list, the most criticized by political parties like PDP and ADC and ANPP and so on. Is it ANPP or so? Have criticized is the former INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. That they said, you have brought us this far to this country, and then what you produce is now making you, to go and represent us abroad, and that's to PDP and to some Nigerians. That is not a plus at all. That's completely minus, a big minus in terms of his character, his pedigree, what he's made of. Although he's a professor, another one is Reno Mokri. I had to check Reno Mokri, and this is just fun, by the way. I said, what is the meaning of Reno Mercury? He said, Reno Mercury means go and look at the he-goat. I don't know. I check
That's a little below the belt.
He's on the internet. Just if you check, you see, he said, go and look at the he-goat. That's the meaning in Yoruba language. I said, so okay, so Reno will say, okay, even if you people are not happy with one of them, go and look at the he-goat. President has made me a nominee, and so on. Reno, although a lawyer, a journalist, and a columnist, and newspapers and so on, well, he speaks well. He's well vested. But when you look at the characters and pedigree, you talk about the pedigree, the past, what you have been doing and so on, you see, he doesn't really, Reno is about 52.
Yeah.
Yes, 52, 53. He's just he's still a small boy. I think I'm older than him.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am. So, meaning that I can also be an ambassador, by the way. So, but, like I've said, when we were in the class, and what I used to think, ambassadorial thing, diplomatic matters. When you bring, especially now that Nigeria is facing a very trying security time, security issues at this time, and then the country should try to do whatever you are doing, you are bringing to the public, should have a picture of your deep concern about the times, about what is happening now, than to do something that will seem to fuel the crisis. Because by the time these major political parties are criticizing, by the time other people, I have seen one of the mayors in America who criticized, I think I've forgotten his name, I'll check, who are also openly criticized and said that sometimes some of these guys who lived abroad never live well, and sending them back to these major cities like the United States of America, like Britain and France, sending this kind of caliber of men back to them is it's a minus. So it become a very serious critical issue, especially at this time. That's my take.
All right, this is the melting point on Memories 965 FM Monday morning. It's no more news that the president has sent a list of 15 career ambassadors and 17 non-career ambassadors to the Senate for ratification as diplomats, envoys, or ambassadors representing Nigeria. Otuekon, let me come to you. Now, the nominees include 4 women and 4 women among career ambassadors and 6 among non-career ambassadors, gender friendly.
I don't think that even bothers him in any given way and manner. Well, you could see that mostly leadership in a typical country like Nigeria, they may not be as gender friendly as one may think, and in other case, you could see that there's some kind of gender friendliness, because when you look at federal appointments, especially in the professional appointment like civil service, you could see that most permanent secretaries, even at the federal level, are women. And for example, most principals of schools, even at the state level here, you understand me, they are mostly women. But this is not what is their primary consideration. You see, when you look at this caliber of appointment, though generally, I just want to say this, that across the globe, even in America, I'm hearing stories of how the appointment of non-career, that in those days, when you go back, say about 20-30 years ago, the appointment of ambassadors were mostly career ambassadors, those who have experience in the foreign affairs ministry, and that now those things are not happening. In fact, I remember Kishore Mabubani, he said that one of the reasons you have some of this crisis between America and some countries like in China is the appointment of non-career ambassadors, that this waiting political consideration weighs more in deciding who is appointed rather than professionalism when it comes to ambassadors. Certainly across the globe, you do see situations where you just appoint somebody because of political interest you have, or political IOUs, you know, and that you have, which is what you're seeing in some of the appointment, like the former INEC chairman, which is without that the most controversial. You understand me? You know, but you know, where in those nations, what they consider again is that, look, we don't want somebody who has an issue of this thing, questionable character. Yes,
controversial.
You have a questionable image, controversial image, you know, like that. In no any normal sensible country, somebody like the former INEC chairman would not be considered. But let us not forget that this is not the first time we have seen it in this thing. I remember Idris was a commissioner of a police in Kano during the 2015 election, and the INEC commissioner in that state was killed, I think with his family or so. The house was burnt, and it is in the news that some people controversially pointed their hands in the lack of, because they said when the man called out, nobody came, he had to run to his house and he was born, that he was about to reveal the massive rigging that happened in that state. Incidentally and controversially, in few years time, that man was appointed. About a year's time after Mr. President got in 2015, Buhari, by 2016, Idris was appointed the Inspector General of Police, and people said maybe this is just like an IOU. So you're seeing the same situation now with this same government appointing an INEC chairman, whom a lot of us feel did a very bad job as an INEC chairman during the 2023 election.
But if you can recall, Atahiru Jega got a national appointment after his job as INEC chairman.
I can't really remember the national appointment the man got anyway, but the fact is that this one was so controversial to a point that up till this very day, getting to almost 4 years after the election, the IREV, which was bought for such an expensive, paid for to Amazon Web Services for such billions, at whether about 300 and something billion, 100 and something billion then, you understand me? That same services, up to today, we don't have a complete upload of the 2023 presidential election. And you now repay such a man with an ambassadorial appointment. It is very, very, it just seems like you're telling somebody, good job, you did well for me, let me give you something since your tenure has expired. You see the point? So this is the question that we are saying. So when this kind of appointment comes in, it should have been above board. So you were talking about women now, and I just said that this is not the primary focus of this government. They are not interested in gender friendliness, but rather in political IOUs. That is what we are seeing right now.
Well, still staying with you, talking about repayment and trying to compensate. Opposition parties argue that some nominees are being compensated despite public criticism. The ADC, African Democratic Congress, described the list as job for the boys.
Yes.
Do you think diplomatic postings are being used to settle political debts? It's a two-part.
Yeah.
And does this appointment risk sending a message that controversial public office holders can be rewarded instead of being properly evaluated?
Well, I think that is true. To answer even your second question, yes, it is very true. The signal is being sent. Like I said, some of those who are fighting for the saving of Christians in Nigeria, I've seen their post on social media, and they have just said it. One of them clearly pointed at somebody like Reno Mokri. You understand me? Somebody like that who has a very controversial image across this country. You see the point? And to just come out openly and be given such a position simply points to that fact that this is the thing. You're just giving it out to these people simply because they have done this and that for you. So it is simply trying to repay. It is a wrong image. It is a wrong step taken. It is now showing to everybody that, look, as long as you are ready to compromise your convictions, compromise your standing, compromise your belief system, you understand, which has been going on across the across the Nigeria. No, it didn't start now. In fact, even when PDP were in office, you had this situation, but it didn't go to the extent to what we are saying. At least in those days, the people were able to, just like the different under the image of Nigeria. And you are doing this kind of thing. It sends a very wrong image. But again, too, we need to understand that just like we've always kept on saying, even here, that you have a type of government they call kakistocracy. And what is a kakistocracy? It's a system of government where the worst element sit on the seat of power. And can you blame this government? This is the same government that gave amnesty to the worst criminals you can see in society. You have kidnappers, you have murderers, you have drug peddlers, international drug peddlers who were given amnesty.
Well, that list has been withdrawn.
We don't know yet. Let me tell you what is happening. One day you hear the information that those people have been released. This is a typical Nigerian situation. When your attention is taken away on some other thing, it is either what they will send a bill or pass a bill in the National Assembly, they quietly sent and nobody cared, and they will release some people. It happens across Nigeria. We have seen it time and time again. So just watch out when we are going to have a major controversy. People are shouting everywhere the nature of the president. And people say the president didn't see. How can a president not see? Don't you have a team that vet who recommend before you even sign it? They must have presented those names on your table, and there are people who must have vetted it. So I don't buy that kind of thing. I think it was very wrong for the president those kind of names to come in, and I'm not surprised that you have somebody like Reno Mokri, of all people, to be given ambassadorial appointment. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised to see Femi Fani-Kayode in that same list. You understand me? You see, so it's like as long as stomach infrastructure is in the fray, anything goes in Nigeria today.
Well, before Old Sailor comes in, let's just take a look at some of the names on the list. There's Barrister NYAKNNO from Abia State, should be a former minister, Reno Mokri from Delta, Professor Mamu Yakubu from Bauchi, former INEC chairman, Relu Adebayo, former First Lady of Ekiti State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, former governor of Enugu State, Tasiu Megari, former Speaker, Katsina House of Assembly, Yakubu Gambo from Plateau State, former Commissioner, ex-Deputy Executive Secretary, Universal Basic Education Commission, and Professor Nora Dadut from Plateau, former Senator Otumba Femi Pedro, former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, of course, from Osun State, former Aviation Minister, Barrister Nkechi Linda Ofochukwu from Anambra State. There's also Fatima Florence Ajimobi, former First Lady for your state, Lola Konde, former Lagos State Commissioner, Grace Bent, former Senator from Adamawa, Dr. Victor Ikpeazu, Okezie Ikpeazu, I'm sure the middle name strikes a bell, former Governor of Abia State, Senator Jimo Ibrahim, a serving senator, businessman, and actually former senator from Ondo State. Those are the non-career ambassadors. Ambassador Paul Adiko from Benue completes the list before we talk about the career ambassadors.
Yes, Doctor, let me come to leave a carrot to relax a while. Doctor, some people say with the infusion or inclusion of some PDP members in the ambassadorial list, the national outlook of Nigeria in those
president wants. What the president wants, and appointing some PDP members.
Yeah.
That's quite political. You know, to me, as a political scientist, I look at that as, especially at this time that there's what I should call it fusion between the government of the day, that's the APC, and some other parties, whereby other parties are supporting, like I've read this morning, where the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, former governor Udom Emmanuel, has endorsed the re-election of President Tinubu, and has asked people to support him so that he will have opportunity to come and to solve the current security problems
That's coming just a little over 2 weeks after where he was part of it.
Where he was part of it, who suspended Wike, the Minister of Federal Capital. Yeah. So you can see that there is a lot of political undertone. You never can tell whether what you hear next that Udoma has turned over to Mr. President and big appointment, political appointment. So most of those people, to me, looking at it critically from the eyes of an analyst and a critical analyst too, is that you don't know some of these people. Before you know it, they will switch over to APC. It's not because the president just wants an inclusive leadership or appointments to show but it's using that these people have not yet decamped. He will tell them, just wait. I'll tell you when to decamp. So that's my thinking. Possible, yes. That's my thinking. Just wait. Let me finish. Let me publish this list first. And then, and of course, people who are looking at it that way will draw a conclusion and say, oh, this president is very, very, he has a large heart. He uses an all-inclusive approach of leadership. And so
unity government,
sort of, before you know it, all these guys will switch over to the other side of the divide.
Doc, let me stay with you. The list is made up of non-career ambassadors and career ambassadors. Non-career ambassadors exist worldwide, but the balance between political and professional choices varies by country. On this list, some believe career diplomats are being sidelined by political nominees. How normal and does the mix of career and non-career nominees show a healthy balance, or does it raise concerns about professionalism?
In the strict sense of the word, it's supposed to be career ambassadors that are supposed to be appointed to of the world. But these days, if you look at, we'll give you an example, you go to the bank, which we lecturers, we teach, we have different departments. We expect that those who are supposed to work in the bank should be those from banking department of banks, and you see somebody who has religion being the manager of the bank, and you raise a question, what is this religious graduate is doing in the bank? And so on. In a society today, you don't find square peg in a square hole, you find square peg in a round hole, you find a round peg in a square hole. So somehow, maybe.
So you think it has rubbed off on the ambassador?
The professionalism,
as well.
Of course, it has. Yes, in that aspect too. Politics, interests of politics now play in where sometimes the chief executive will be looking for where exactly can I put this man. And so the idea of putting you as ambassador just comes. Oh yes, that's a beautiful, and just regardless of whatever, just put the man there or the woman there, and he's fine. He's happy that he has made an appointment, to one of his friends or cronies and so on. So these things mix up. I was speaking on a strict sense of it. Now on the other side, it can also help some of those who are non-career ambassadors to also learn,
on the job.
Yes, learn on the job. They can peep on those who are career ambassadors, can learn from them, and also improve upon their, level of experiences, and so that can also rub off a level of knowledge and a level of competence to those who are non-career ambassadors, and so on. So the both can help. There are some people who are very, very smart in learning and very smart in in whatever you give to them to handle, and so those kind of people can also be given opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge level of knowledge and experience.
Okay, take us into Nigeria-Kenya relationship that will, really trigger South Africa, Nigeria, and South Africa, Kenya as being very a hotspot for these envoys to go to. How has Nigeria-Kenya relationship been over time?
We don't have a bad relationship with Kenya, except when it came to, and even with South Africa, what you're having, because when you look at every other spheres, like in South Africa, it is a people-to-people problem. And the governmental level, South Africa does not have any problem with Nigeria. Even at the business level, Nigerian big businesses are doing businesses with South African big businesses. Recently, I think there is a collaboration between banks in Nigeria and in South Africa. You have South Africa big businesses in Nigeria, like the Yellow Network, and like they have Nigerian businesses, banks in South Africa. In Kenya, we do have the same thing. The problem we have with Kenya was simply because of the extraordinary rendition, they call it, of NYAKNNO from Kenya, which the Kenya government said they were not aware, didn't give this thing. This thing was done illegally. You understand me? In the case of South Africa, it has always been the issue of certain Nigerians going there to do drugs, and then Nigerians taking over jobs of South Africans, the South Africans having these xenophobic challenges, which we have at the governmental level. I tell you this, Nigeria and South Africa has been able to manage it very, very well. So the governmental problem at the government level, they certainly know. So the Kenyan issue, I don't know how far Kenya is ready to push for that. But now it is time for them. I do career ambassadors and some of the influential persons. Sometimes you may need somebody who is you send them to certain countries where they are going to wield their influences. They are known across the board. So in a place like Kenya, for example, we need to manage that situation very well. Because I don't know how far Kenyan government was ready to go. We heard they had made mention of that case some time ago. I think the president of Kenya said something about that. And so those things are managed. In the case of South Africa, we are still managing it, which I think we need to have better and more experienced person in the field of diplomacy and people with pedigree. I don't know how good the ambassador, I've forgotten his name, one Alaji, something like that, who was in South Africa, whether he's still there. You understand me? I've seen him when Nigerians were having, and when he was talking to this controversial South African politician, Julius Malema. At some time, and Julius Malema, I would not say he insulted him or something. So we need to have people who are very savvy, well experienced. Some places where we need career ambassadors, we send them to some of those places where we need highly experienced persons. And there are some career ambassadors who are very experienced. Take for example somebody like Gambari. I know he's old now. You see the point. Send him to a country like United States. You're sure bound to get some kind of good feedback coming out of there. So that is the thing. We don't have problem with this African nation as we speak, but we don't need to sustain the goodwill we are having. So you need somebody personally, maybe reasonably experienced in that sector, who can go to those countries and then manage it well. All
right, let's let the listener in on the discussion this morning. 41 minutes gone past 10, 19 on the way to 11. You're listening to Melting Point on Memories 96.5 FM this Monday morning. And we're talking about the 32-man list released by President Bola Tinubu for ambassadorial postings to different countries where Nigeria has diplomatic ties with. You can join in on the discussion by dialing 0803 085 7755, 089 066 6909. Remember, when you call in, try to be as concise and civil as possible. Doc, back to you. Since 2023, many missions have operated without full ambassadors. As a matter of fact, President Tinubu pulled the ambassadors in September. So it's over 2 years actually, and which made without substantive ambassadors. How much damage do you think that has the vacancy has done to Nigeria's international relations?
Well, to a very large extent anyway, but that's not to conclude that because there were no ambassadors, high commissioners and so on and so forth, that Nigeria never had a way out to relate with other countries. It's like having let's come back to the country now. You remember when former President Muhammadu Buhari got into office? For 6 months, he was looking for best hands to appoint as ministers. Within those 6 months, still functional, although not in full swing, except the political heads, permanent secretaries, directors, heads of departments were still there in operation. So the president could relate with the permanent secretaries to get information, whatever information you have to, and so on. The same thing happens in the state when commissioners are not yet appointed. So it's a similar, almost similar structure at the international level, whereby you don't have ambassadors yet on seat. You still have those structures. I've forgotten some of the. I think some of the names are in French. The names of those positions.
Charge d'affaires.
Good. So those positions are there for countries of the world to connect and get the kind of information, although it will not be in full scale, like when the ambassadors are appointed now, sworn in and deployed to the different countries. So it was not totally, although it wasn't good enough that it should last for up to 2 years. That also does not mean that it was totally not the relationship between Nigeria and other countries was totally down. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, thank you very much. You're on to the melting point on Memories 96.5 FM. We're anticipating your questions on 0803 085 7755, or you can send your WhatsApp messages to us on 0809 066 6909. That is 0803 085 7755 or 0809 066 6909. The last number serves as a WhatsApp number. Otreko, the recent list we have before us, what do you think the Senate has to do now to justify at least the confidence Nigerians should have on this government? What are you expecting from the Senate? Are you expecting any rejections?
No, if you have rejections, I think it's more maybe personal. I do expect our Senate President to raise certain questions like how come we don't have an Akwa Ibom name in that place? At least something should happen. Maybe, I don't know if it's bothered. I think the name must have been, he must have seen the names before now. So because it's going to create some controversy, and people in Akwa Ibom have started asking. I had a call yesterday, and somebody asked me, a politician asked me, say, have you seen what these people have done? And he was pointing accusing fingers at the Senate President is doing nothing. You understand me? So those things are going to raise some dust. Certainly. Why do you not? Because there are some states with two. I think either Edo or Delta has two names or so. So something like that is likely to happen. But I think looking at this current National Assembly, which has been more of a rubber stamp National Assembly, we believe that they will, even if there's dust rest, it may just be just to let it be as if we didn't say anything. But at the end of the day, I do believe that those names are going to be passed, and they will be a normal business as usual, as we have always seen. If important issues have gone to the Senate and nothing has happened, like borrowing of money and people are asking questions, and then they will pass. Then imagine ambassadorial appointment that is nothing.
Let's take this call.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the program.
Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
It's unfortunate that after what Mahmoud Yakubu did to Nigeria, lied to us, deceive us, give us that stress. We even there fighting that if you send that thing must make sure that the thing we ask will be stopped before girl. Have you sent? Are you sure?
That's what happened at my polling unit.
Yes. What happened? Was surprised to see people carry paper to come reading it. Even when they make mistakes, you will say, go and apologize well. The end of the day, what the presidential president Noble compensate him and give him an ambassador. Well, I want to assure Mr. President, when I enter and forgive Mamogia, we still will not forgive him. That's number one. Number two, I believe that we're talking about media, that we are now decided to go to join federal appointment. We are now federal government, in terms of leaving PDP to go and join national government. We are shocked to look at the list, no problem name. Even some, as I don't know what to say, they are state. Oh, we see Labour Party have two, Igbanzo is there. I'm surprised. Are we really sure what we are doing?
All right, Coco.
Is it all about this? Is it just all about Senate President who has refused Calabar to reach and still battling today? No, only single lane.
Thank you.
Thank
you for calling.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, yes,
That's very deep.
Doc, he has raised an interesting point. Abia State, the serving governor is of the Labour Party.
Yes.
The deputy speaker of the House of Reps is from Abia State, APC. Now, the state has two nominees, one a career nominee and the other a non-career nominee. Akwa Ibom State has the number 3 citizen of the country as the Senate President and the serving governor as an APC member, but has nobody on this list. Is that an issue?
It's a big blow to us.
How much of it?
Of course, it's a big blow to us.
Doc, let me just halt you there. Okay. Let's hear this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning. We can barely hear you. Your line is muffled. Oh, you have to call us back.
Please do well to call us back. We are struggling to hear you.
Doc, fire on.
Yes, I was saying that it's a big blow to Akwa Ibom because today, Akwa Ibom, by reason of the movement from PDP to defection from PDP to APC, Akwa Ibom is an APC state. Remember, the governor said that once he takes Akwa Ibom to the national, that will have a Ibom deep seaport. The list of seaports to be constructed by the federal government was published some 2 months ago, or last month, or thereabout. Ibom deep seaport was not there, whereas that was supposed to be the first thing. Now the nominees of ambassadorial nominees, Akwa Ibom is, I think, the 3rd richest oil producing country in the state in the country after Edo, yes, or Delta, and then River State, and then Akwa Ibom State.
Yeah.
So we are not, the money has been taken to the federal by reason of this defection. So we are not given ambassador or even a high commissioner. I'm not even asking for high commissioner, for ambassador. We are entitled by reason of what we contribute to the federal government. We're entitled to this appointment. It is not just like the last caller said. It's not just because we have the Senate President. The Senate President was contested and won. Like it was
an appointment,
something that Akwa Ibom should have. It was an election that the president was able to, the Akwa Ibom was able to win, and so nobody should use that as. After all, you people have a Senate President now. What about the states that the Speaker of this House of Reps comes from? Don't they have an ambassador? What about where the governor, the president comes from? Doesn't he also have an ambassador? And so on. So Akwa Ibom deserves better.
Who should be speaking for Akwa Ibom when you say Joseph? But I mean, who else?
The governor and the Senate president.
The number 3 citizen.
This number 3 citizen and the governor should insist that we should be given appointment, nominee. You know, that somebody should be nominated for. Or are they going to say that we don't have somebody who is qualified to be an ambassador from this? Let them ask me. I will mention one person. I will mention somebody. Udodoma is there. Senator Udodoma is good enough to be an ambassador. If I don't remember any other name, but that name keeps ringing in my ear. That he can be a good.
Maybe ambassador. The list is about to be reviewed or something.
What? We don't know yet.
The list should be reviewed. You know, you asked Tuekong what the Senate will do.
Let me just ask you mine.
Good.
Similar question.
Yes.
Many Nigerians doubt whether the Senate will actually challenge any.
They should, but they will not. Why? Because of where most of them came from. You know, if I stay here to say that the Senate is almost a rubber stamp Senate, I don't think. I will be wrong. I don't think it's an overstatement or understatement. Why? Because most of them were selected by Mr. President, who is the leader of our APC. When we had the last legislature in the country was when we had former Senate President Saraki, whereby he will stand his ground and say, no, Mr. President, this one will not go through.
Yes.
This one will not fly. And he gives his reasons. But by the time, which list has they ever passed through this present Senate and House of Reps and its return? Even if some of the things that are written there are in error, they just pass it. And later on they realize that it was in error, and then they now go and review and so on. So this list that is being submitted, I expect the third citizen of this country to say no, this one will not fly until a name from my state reflect on it.
All right, let's talk about
it. I wish I have his number. I will send an input to him that we in Akwa Ibom State we are expecting that from him.
My parting shot is that Mr. Senate President Ali should stand up. Let us not. We've been hearing promises after promise. When we cross over to the national, this is what is going to happen. It seems as if when you are in opposition, you rather get more from the center than from the than from when you are in part and parcel of them. That's the thing I see. But again, too, I just want to remind all of us, all these things said and done. Please let us remember that there's a terror alert that just came out yesterday. If you have a brother up north, please just call them and warn them from a very credible source. Go to Facebook and check Truth Nigeria. Just look at it. They have been sending terror alerts to save Nigerians who have been attacked. So please, people
are
should
they
do that.
Security agency?
They have been doing that. It is the people running the IDP camps in Nigeria. It is an American NGOs who have been helping us. They are the ones who have made America to do what they are doing in Nigeria. So please,
the security agencies.
No, it's good to let them know.
Doc, your parting shot.
I want to say that Nigeria is a country that no matter what, let all of us put our hands on deck, put our hands together to see how this country can be the countries of the 80s and the countries of the
70s.
All right, Dr. Nwanabasi Udo and Tuekong Jobake, thank you for coming on Melting Point.
Thank you for thanking me.
And that's where we'll leave the conversation for today. Nigeria stepping back onto the diplomatic stage, but the debate over who carries the country's flag is far from settled. As the Senate begins screening and confirmation, the questions raised today will shape public expectations and political accountability in the days ahead. Thank you for staying with us. Join us again tomorrow for more clarity, context, and discussion on the issues that matter. Until then, my name is NYAKNNO Albert.
Thank you very much for joining us. For 2 years, Nigeria has been missing in the diplomatic circles. Well, diplomacy is not an expensive, it's an expensive practice. Whether a country is hungry, we must not be hungry with our envoys. So let's attempt to send one Akwa Ibomite out there. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Enquiry.
Thank you.